Yo, guys, welcome to the Blue Podcast. This is the Purple Show with me, Tom, Ben, Cam, and Fab. The boys are back together. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm knackered. I'm gonna be honest. I'm very tired, but I'm gonna bring the energy to this, of course. It's been an interesting start to the season, hasn't it, boys? For all of us, I'd say. Certain teams have lost, certain teams have won, certain teams have drawn. Unfortunately, the worst team in London is top of the table currently. But then again, they haven't played anyone good, have they? So it's all right. The Harry Kane saga's over. Do we think he wanted to leave, or was it just a bit of a media frenzy?
He definitely wanted to leave. Who wouldn't want to leave Spurs? Let's be real.
If he wants to win a trophy. And it's interesting how he said, I'm not leaving this summer, was an interesting thing he said.
January.
How many years has he got left on his contract then?
3, 4? He signed a 6-year deal.
Yeah, I don't see how the fee's going to come down until he's got like maybe 2 or 1 year left on his contract. So
I don't know. But did anyone else notice how well him and Grealish played together against whoever it was? Hungary.
Yeah.
They were linking up a little bit. It was quite nice.
I thought the whole England team played quite well. Overall, I didn't watch the game, just watched the highlights. So that's literally all I have. That's just all of it was England highlights as well. I don't think there was actually a Hungary highlight.
Yeah.
But apart from the racists,
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It was Hungary, so it's what you expect.
True.
But, yeah.
Well, I mean, Sweden just beat Spain, which I think is a bit of a big one.
Yeah, but Sweden are actually half decent at football, unlike Hungary. So
for Sweden.
What was that?
No, it was Isak, wasn't it? It was Isak who scored. Yeah.
Isaac.
Oh, I thought it's got Isak. You got to get it into the Swedish lingo, Tom. You're not bit more European twang.
Commentators said Isaac, so I'm going to say that.
Oh, sorry. We got your English through and through.
No, Kane definitely wants to leave, I think.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Kane because when you're a main man for a club for so long, you kind of he was set up to be a Spurs legend, which isn't that much, let's be honest. But
it's not hard.
You might get a statue out of it. But now he's wanted to leave. It's fair enough if he signs for another club and wins some trophies, but he's not been allowed to leave. So now he's kind of in that grey area where he's not really a club legend. He's literally just asked to leave this summer. But he's also just not going to win any trophies either.
It's just that's the thing though. He's got to win some trophies to get that status. They're
going to win European UEFA Conference Leagues like that. That's
they played Ferrero Rocher for crying out loud.
That's going to win. That's going to make him get a statue in the end.
I mean, he should stay in the Premier League to get the goal record, I think. But City would have been a good move for him because he would have won stuff. He guaranteed to win things at City. So it would have been a really good move for him. Is 150 million too much?
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I think
go on.
It was never. It was 150 million euros, wasn't it? And they wanted 150 million quid. So we were only offering 120 odd million. So we never met that. But apparently, it wasn't even like they had an asking price. They just didn't bother talking to us. Like they just straight up refused. So it's like 100 million offer, no. 150 million euro offer, no. Like there was just no discussion whatsoever.
But
yeah.
Do you not think that's maybe if Kane went about it in a different way in terms of if he came out to the fans and said, look, I love this club. I will always love this club. I'm a Spurs fan, whatever. I've put everything into this club, but I want to win some trophies. That maybe that would have then put the onus on Levy, and actually maybe put him on a better stead rather than being a bit of what's the word?
Limbo.
Not limbo. He's come out. It's clear that he's not got any.
He was
anything about
his bets. He was hedging his bets, wasn't he? But
he was clearly his representatives advised him wrong The way you went about it
Yeah.
was just completely wrong.
Like I say, I think he was hedging his bet. So he was like, I'm going to sort of push for the move to see if I can get to City, but I'm going to leave one foot in the door just in case
Yeah,
they come off. So I
Well,
can still play for Spurs. But if you're going to commit to something,
you need
you
to.
commit to it. But
the problem with Spurs, they're trying to be a big club. Like, they've just built a new stadium. They've got to a Champions League final. They expect to be like now. Spurs fans in the club want to be like challenging top four or getting top four every season, even challenging for titles, for cups, for anything they're in. But they're just not like they're not that club. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Like, literally, I'm sorry, but that is Spurs. They're a small fish in a big pond against big fish.
the facilities for that big man.
No, it literally, and Harry Kane is like, he's their main man. But look at Jack Grealish, for example. He's Mr. Aston Villa. He was their captain, but he's left in kind of a good way.
Yeah.
They understood.
He will still be one of their best players ever. That they will love him. They still
I
love
think,
him.
I mean, even not even just the way he's done it, even just down to the contract with Kane. He's gone. Oh yeah, I'll agree to a 6-year contract. With Grealish, he signed a new contract, and he explicitly put in his contract a clause that said, "If a Champions League club come in for me for 100 million, please can you accept it?" Like, he explicitly, it's on paper. It wasn't like a gentleman's agreement. On paper, that like it said in his contract that was the case.
Yeah.
I think
we're not in the 1950s anymore, are we?
Yeah,
the gentleman's agreements don't count.
I mean, as much as we say about Kane could have done it differently, even then, I don't think it would have changed Levy. Like, I think he would have still gone no, because that's just the way he is.
That's what Levy bet on, though, isn't it? He said to Kane, yeah, you know what, if Big comes in or whatever, it's the right number, I will accept it. But that means that the right number for Levy is whatever he wants it to be. So Kane's probably thought, I've got this great deal. I've set my grandkids, my grandkids' kids in terms of finances, but Levy has got away from it going, he hasn't put a release contract in his deal, has he? No? Brilliant. We can keep him. We can fleece him. He's now completely at Levy's control, and I don't think City will go back in for him again. He'll be 29 next summer.
Too old by then.
Yeah, he wanted to at least, because it could still take a season for him to settle at City, whereas if you got him now, it may be 29, 30, 31, he'd be at his best for you. And it's too late when you start reaching that 30 thing. But to be honest, I can't be able to speak about Spurs or Kane anymore.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Fab, how do you think the season started for you?
I think it's gone pretty well. I know I'm not the only one in terms of Liverpool fan base that think this transfer window for us has been a bit of a stinker again. When you're buying like one player and it's a player you should have brought in maybe 2 summers ago, 1.5 summers ago, when you sold Lovren, and you didn't have enough centre backs, and it came to bite you in the ass. And that's our summer transfer window summed up. I think you've got like little warning lights going on, and I don't think a lot of Liverpool fans are expecting much from this season because of that. Because last season was 4th, but pulled out the bag at the end, just to get top 4. But we're a club that want to be not just challenging top 4. We want to be challenging the Premier League, the Champions League. We've done it the last couple of years. We've achieved those goals. It feels like we've just almost given up in terms of trying to go for them again.
Even though it's the same group of players, the same manager,
that's probably the issue, though, isn't it? Is that not what you're worried about? The fact that most of your players haven't changed in about 5-6 seasons.
I think there's a heavy reliance on academy players, but our academy players aren't, we haven't got players going out on loan, like Chelsea does to these foreign clubs. We don't have, the investment in there. Harvey Elliott we did buy. I remember, I think it was 1 season ago, for a couple of million. But you're expecting, Harvey Elliott played against Chelsea. I think it was his first Premier League debut.
Yeah.
And you're expecting this player who's been on loan to Blackburn, Fulham, something like that.
Yeah.
To just,
he did play well, to be fair to him.
And, he did play well, but I was watching that game. He made a couple of counter-attacking mistakes that potentially cost us the game there. Just through, not even mistakes, just passing the ball too early. And you notice that in the game, and if that build-up play in the midfield isn't there, you're going to be restricting your front three. So I don't know. I'm rambling on a little bit here, but you can't come out of the transfer window. Essentially, the way I see it, we haven't invested in our squad at all. Konate was a good signing, but he was a fix for a problem. It wasn't about reinvestment. It's not about the future. He's a backup centre back for Van Dijk, Gomez, Matip, that we should have had, at least a season ago. And if you're not reinvesting in your squad and you're losing players like Wijnaldum, that's an aging squad, it doesn't take a genius to figure out
what's going to happen.
Yeah, nothing special is going to happen.
So like, we'll give it a couple of seasons and some of these players are going to be moving on. I mean, Wijnaldum's a perfect example of, like, he left on a free transfer, but he was one of your key players in your starting 11. That's an Arsenal move, that is. That's not... And look where that's got us. So
he's old as well. So I'm not. If he was like 27, 28, I would be proper gutted about that. Him leaving on a free transfer in his prime. He was like 30, 31 when he left. So I'm not over the moon. But it's going to be the same story for a lot of our players. Next summer. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of these contracts coming in the summer. One's just taking the piss. Henderson signing a contract at the end of the transfer window. That is essentially just going like,
that was like the club going, oh, look at this contract.
That's something we spoke about with United and signing Cavani. That's what Ben said last season. How they signed Cavani on deadline day. It looked like this. Oh, we just got him in time, but it was a free transfer.
Could do it whenever they want. They could have done it like the day after if they wanted, but no, it's deadline transfer. But
so that's kind of what Liverpool have done now.
Yeah, I think
we haven't actually signed anyone.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone actually thought Henderson was going to go to another club as well. Like, let's be honest.
No one wants. I don't think anyone wants it. No.
All right, that's a little bit harsh. I didn't mean that. He's a good player, but
maybe Brighton. No, but he's a system player, and it would take him some time to adjust into a new system. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the thing with Liverpool is, you're saying about sort of like that Wijnaldum thing is like sort of an almost Arsenal thing to do, where he's a start 11 player and let him go for free. But I think the sort of the reason why it won't affect Liverpool as much is because you've got Jurgen Klopp, you've got a top coach there, so you'll be able to cope. And I think, the thing that people always come back to, I think we always come back to with Liverpool, and it's what you've said about the transfer window, is your start 11 is fantastic. Soon as you go into the bench and the squad, it's like, So as soon as you get an injury in that starting 11, then you start to think, oh, maybe. But 2 seasons ago, you didn't get any injuries, and that can quite easily happen again. But last season, you got loads of injuries, and that can quite easily happen again. So you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
that's the thing with Liverpool. Go on. I was going to say that's the thing with Liverpool is they have the chart. They could challenge for the title for sure with that team, but it's if Van Dijk stays fit, if Van Dijk's back to full fitness, if Matip can stay fit, if all the front three can stay fit. It's a lot of ifs. Obviously, if all of those things are fine, then you'd say Liverpool probably are going to be title contenders, but the fact that there's so many ifs is kind of what opposite to what City and Chelsea and United now have done is they've just bought so many players so that their bench can and the whole squad can cover for injuries and if someone gets injured or if someone's not playing as well. which I think obviously must be a worry for you, Fab.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely warning bells happening at the moment because, as I said, there's no reinvestment. And, obviously we've got a fantastic manager, but I'd say it's very 50-50 in 3 seasons' time that Klopp is still in the club. Because he's said publicly, he doesn't want to do this when he's old. He's not going to be our Alex Ferguson. He's not,
Yeah.
he's not
Similar
going to be around for that
to
long.
what Guardiola said, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm almost not too bothered about this season. I just want to see some reinvestment. People. Oh, fucking what's the? I'm keeping an eye on it. But yeah, I want to see these young players. We've done this before. People like Keita. Okay, he didn't work out, but that was good. A young, promising foreign player coming in, challenging the midfield. It didn't work out, but you've got to be doing more of that. And I think we're one of the only clubs at the moment that haven't reinvested in the entire Premier League. Even just signing these cheap younger players, there's nothing. It's sort of dead water at the moment. No summer activity, and I think it's United. I think same thing happened. I don't study them in too much detail, but I was reading some comments and people were saying United supporters were saying this is what happened to the United team after Sir Alex left. They didn't reinvest in their team, and they had these aging players that were going. People like Scholes coming back when he's like 33 or something, playing the midfield. If you don't reinvest, you're gonna crash, right? And in 3 seasons' time, if nothing changes, we're gonna crash. We're gonna, at this point, you could even pull an Arsenal and finish bottom of the Premier League.
That's over 15 years to get to this point. So
Yeah.
You'll just slowly drop out, and you won't see it coming, and then you'll be bang.
Well, it'll be when Klopp leaves. And do you think almost Klopp's doing what Sir Alex and Wenger did in they're obviously top quality coaches, and therefore that's what's protecting the board above them?
I think Klopp will want to leave because of the lack of reinvestment. You got to think for a coach, it's almost boring. You're managing the same players over, and you want to have a bit of funding, and that was happening 2 seasons ago. We're bringing in Alisson, Van Dijk, all. Let's be honest here, like 10 out of 10 signings, all through Klopp and Michael Edwards. Michael Edwards has left now. There's no reinvestment. Klopp's probably going to leave in a couple seasons' time if we don't see any summer activity. So,
but how do they not see that? Okay, you got Van Dijk and Alisson, and you spent 150 million on them, both total. But look what you got in return for that. You got a Champions League, a Premier League. You got, and you've been competing. You competed when you made the transfer. So I don't see that the formula is not that difficult. Man City spend, they win things. Chelsea spend, they win things.
We were 1 point away from beating Man City as well. That legendary Man City team that got 100 points or something.
98 that season.
Yeah, it was something crazy. If you look at how much we invested and how much we did with that money, I'm no businessman, but that's good business.
Yeah,
for the club and everyone involved.
Yeah. I mean, the caveat, that I mean, a lot of sort of Liverpool fans say is their financial model is different to a City and a Chelsea.
There's no financial model at the moment. They're not spending any money.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. Like their argument is this, but you're still a top 6 club, so there still should be money there. Maybe not as much, but there still should be money there to, like you say, reinvest in the squad. So it's a bit,
But then it doesn't even need massively heavy investment all the time. Look at Fernandes was 60 million for United, 65 or something like that.
Much.
And look at the impact that he had, and that's just one player. So and that was instant as well. So if Liverpool can look to find that one player that's going to just come in and I wouldn't say change anything, just give him that boost again, just the boost up. Midfield is probably the place that you need it. Attacking midfield, you need someone in there, or a striker.
It really wouldn't take much. We're used to not spending money. We were spoiled that Van Dijk, Alisson. was the first time we'd spent like over 100 million in a transfer window before. It was, we were all like amazed and it paid off. We're not, no offense to all the clubs, but we're not like spoiled for transfers right now. If I know I've gone on about him quite a lot, but if we bought Sarr in for 30 million, 40 million, which I'm sure we'd get him for, I'd say good transfer window. Well done. Next season, let's go. I think with that sort of transfer, I'd fancy our chances in the Prem and Champions League, because you've got a young attacking player who's going to be pushing Mane and Salah for places. Just bringing a bit of youth into the squad.
And if you look at it as well, like Liverpool's transfer team, whoever does that, must be pretty good, considering they spent 150 million on a core for defence and sorted your defence out, whereas Man City took 600 million and they've just got it really, like last season, they've just found their best defence and they spent 600 million. So
you got to throw quite a few things at the wall until one sticks. You know what I mean?
They spent 4 times as much, and we're talking about hundreds of millions of pounds than Liverpool. But Liverpool found it in 2 players with less money. So whoever's doing those transfers has got to be. They've got to know what they're doing. But why are they doing it more often?
That's who's left, though, isn't it?
It is.
It's Michael Edwards, the one who does that. There's raving reviews. All Liverpool fans love him. Michael Edwards, he's practically a player for us at this point. That's how much impact he has. But he's left this summer, so we're all a bit like, well, what's next? It's not a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, it's
beginning of the end. Welcome.
Yeah, it's like you say with that Sarr deal. Like, you would think Liverpool would be all over that.
Yeah,
but they're not. But there's other deals like that you think you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. It's like the Saul deal for Chelsea. United have been linked to them for ages, and I thought United were going to be all over that deal. 5 million euro loan and then 40 million option buy. I thought United would be like, there's the money, take it. And then, but nothing.
That's probably because of the Ronaldo thing, though. They probably then went.
Well, the thing is, like they should have it. They should have it. They only spent 12 million on him. Like, they should still have money there. There's money there, But and then City, like the Nuno Mendes to PSG, he went there for like a 5 million loan deal, and we've been linked to them. And I thought they'd be all over that. No SBC, and it's crazy. But I think it's like you're saying, like with City, we spent like loads of money in the defence, and our management team, the attacking signings are all quality.
Mm-hmm.
But then it comes to defence. I don't think they have any knowledge of defensive.
And you still need a left back. Like, in my opinion, you still need a left back.
We've not had a left back since 2016. It's ridiculous.
Let's move on to your season then, Ben. How do you think it started?
I mean, I spoke about it countless times. So obviously we lost the Spurs first game of the season, but all you have to do is look at the back four, and you'll know the reason why. Because starting with the back four like that, you're basically asking to concede and asking to lose that game. It was absolutely shite, that back four. It was awful.
Like, a record-breaking,
yeah, that's the thing as well. It was like one of the worst 11s I've ever seen us put out, and it was like the most expensive Premier level ever. I was like, what? This is what I mean. In terms of defensive signings, they just don't know they don't know what's good. Like Ruben Diaz, they just got lucky with. I think they're like, yeah, he'll do, and it's works. But
I have to admit, if bringing in like Laporte and who's the other one, Ake, those 50 million centre backs, it's not working out. For any other Premier League club apart from maybe Chelsea, maybe United as well, that is a massive L. Like, you spent 100 million on centre backs.
Yeah. No, I mean Laporte. I'd say Laporte's decent, but Ake is
40 mil was ridiculous.
Ake is not good enough.
I've got me as a Bournemouth fan and said there's every reason why this 40 million was ridiculous. 20 million should have been for him. That's why they accepted it within seconds.
Yeah, awful. But I mean, and then after that, you basically saw the 11 that you're probably going to see a lot more of. Because then as soon as he did that, the 11 after against Norwich, it was Walker, Diaz, Laporte, and Cancelo, and you're like, whoa. We've got a decent back four. Like, look what you can do when you've got a decent back four. It's amazing.
Norwich, to be fair.
It was
It was Norwich.
Like it was Norwich, but it was like you didn't care. Like you were like, he's playing the right 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
what about Stones then?
what's
Do
that?
you think
Sorry,
he's in that Stones in that back four? Do you not think he deserves a place?
it's a difficult one because obviously he's got a good partnership with Diaz and he was in decent form. But I think if anyone looks at it on paper, compares Laporte and Stones, and say Laporte's the better defender.
Yeah.
On paper. So and it seems to be working at the moment. So I don't know. See why? I don't think Guardiola or Sky change it.
In the Euros,
What's
they're
that? Sorry?
both standout centre backs in the Euros for Spain and for England.
Yeah, yeah,
Struggle to pick between the two.
yeah. It's a difficult one, but Laporte and Diaz is working at the moment, so he might as well stick with that. But and then obviously further forward, Grealish is fantastic quality signing.
He has been good as well.
Yeah.
He has been good.
Yeah, I've got to say.
To improve your attack, you've got to be good, and he does look. But from when I've seen him play, he goes into the City team and he still looks at like another level ahead of people. When
that was the question, wasn't it?
Like,
that was the question. Was he just a big player and a good player in a small team, but he's actually just clearly a very, very good player.
Like the 100 million price tag. From how he started, you wouldn't really argue with it at the moment. Like he's playing like he's worth that amount of money, and that's a lot. Like that's a big thing to ask for. Like, so it's only been 3 games in. So
yeah, obviously,
and he'll probably get injured in about the next 2. So
yeah, there's that as well. No, he's still settling in and stuff, but like you say, he looks like he's got a relationship already with the players, and he doesn't look out of place. Like he looks
not at all.
But
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned Jesus then.
I was going to get onto that. You gotta give me time. And then Jesus on the wing, a man reborn, different person. Like he's absolutely fantastic on the wing. Again, it's. I mean, I've been saying for ages that he's a winger. But yeah, I know it's Norwich and Arsenal, but 3 assists against Norwich, an assist and a goal against Arsenal. Like.
We judged on Arsenal like that, we comparing Norwich to
I'm sorry.
I can't believe you said that.
I'm sorry. I mean, we'll look at the table as evidence, shall we? Like,
yeah, I just have to accept the cookies first to see Arsenal.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying you're a bad club. But the table doesn't lie.
Enough. Give him some space to breathe, then.
But I know you're getting top 4 and now you're not. But like now, so what do you call? Yeah, Jesus, fantastic, and then Torres, as Pep said in his interview, he's got more of a predatory instinct and he's got better movement as a striker to Jesus. So he's filling in a striker. So I think going forward, that is going to be what we do. Torres is the striker. Jesus rotate with people on the wing, and then the alternative is a false 9.
Well, I've put Ferran Torres straight in my fantasy team because if he's playing the centre forward striker and he nails it, he gets it locked down. There's no reason why he doesn't start every week for City. Unless when De Bruyne comes back and he goes into the centre forward position like he did a bit last season. But if Torres is scoring and he's playing well, then why not? So
yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, but yeah, I mean, after the first game against Tottenham, I was like, I was not happy at all, and I was like, why? What? I mean, I was talking to kids on the thingy, and when the team came out, and kids was like, why is he playing that 11? I was like.
Straight in the chat as well. It was straight in the chat.
Yeah, internationals. Like I don't know, because I got it in some senses, but then I was like looking at other players and like there's players like who have been involved in internationals further forward, so it doesn't really make sense. But yeah, he obviously he's corrected that, and that's in the past now. So we've recovered from that pretty well, or got back on track pretty well. But yeah.
Spurs are still
Let's move on to
top.
Arsenal then.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, Arsenal.
Should we
who-
move on to Arsenal?
Yeah,
Do I have to?
Yeah,
Arsenal
you do.
who-
How's
who,
your season going so far, mate?
At least
Shit.
you're spending money.
we should spending money.
Really,
That's-
really,
we should-
really, really shit.
yeah.
Like, and I don't even need to. I don't even need to say it. It's not even my own opinion. That's everyone's opinion. It's just there to see. Everyone can see it. Bottom of the league, -9 goal difference. Bottom of the league after 3 games, haven't scored a goal.
I honestly
Haven't scored a goal. Lose against Brentford on the first day.
I feel like that game though. I think a lot of people thought could happen because obviously it's the brand new stadium, first ever game in the Premier League, and you're a big enough club for them to want to get a scalp out of the Premier League. If that makes sense.
Oh, they were up for it, but why weren't we? Why? The caliber of player is just they've just come up from a playoff final in the Championship. They've got a couple of notable players, but the rest of them I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
The only reason I know Ivan Toney is because he scored screamers against Swansea. That's literally it.
yeah. I mean,
He was a Golden Boot winner in Championship last season, I think. Unless
Did he score the most? I think he scored the most goals ever in a Championship season.
Well, so
I think,
but he's the only notable person there that I can think of. But then you've got to look at it, and then you've also got to consider you played against Chelsea and City, who are title contenders this season. You can see that already. You knew that coming into it. So, would you expect to beat them anyway? No, but would you expect them to at least have a performance and show up a little bit? Just play a bit of football and not got 18% possession against Man City. Literally.
It's a indication of. I mean, like I said, and it was only Arsenal, but like 2 seasons ago, playing Arsenal was still sort of you thinking, I'd like to think we can win this, but it'll be a tough game.
Oh yeah, you just expect a tough game, a good performance from Arsenal, but may as well not even turned up. That's literally you could have put 11 posts on a pitch and they would have done just as good of a job. It's just
I do think
there's some positives to pick up from it as well, though. Not from those games in particular, as you said, but for one, you've reinvested in your squad, which I am moderately jealous of. Even though it hasn't worked out as an instant fix, you brought some young players. You're putting money in. You've got I don't know if he's a good centre back or not, but at least you spent money on a centre back, which has worked out for a lot of clubs recently. And you've also got a really nice. I think you've got probably one of the best run of fixtures in the Prem. At the moment. So I think there's definitely some. It's not like all hope is lost.
No, but it's not. It's just not. It's not good to start the season off. It was bad anyway.
Break as well. You've got a bit of time to rethink the formation. Sort out your starting lineup. We've had. I think at the start of the season we had 8 senior players out, or something around 8 senior players out of the team. That's massive. We can't expect to play consistent football without those players. And in terms of transfer window, we spent the most. Is it the most in Europe, or is it the most in the Premier League?
Most in the Premier League, at least. I think it might be most in Europe as well.
And they're all under 23 years old. So, we've signed Ben White. We needed a centre back because David Luiz has left. So, to talk about people that have left, which is probably just as important as people that have gone out. David Luiz, Willian, Bellerin have all left. That is a good thing.
Yeah,
that's not a bad thing at all. They're off the wage book and they weren't good for the club anyway. Xhaka, I think, should have gone. Like we could have got a nice sum for him as well.
You were trying to force him to go, and then you gave him a contract.
So stupid, so stupid. He was close to going to Roma because Mourinho wanted him.
Yeah.
And we could have got a good fee for him because of how well he played, played against France in the
He's such a Mourinho player, isn't he?
So
Yeah.
So we give him another contract. Why? That proves his worth by getting sent off against City. Like, and then we've got Ben White, and then Ramsdale. I like 35 million or whatever it was. It's probably a bit too much for him, but don't care. He's a good goalkeeper, and we've needed a goalkeeper. But why would you buy Aaron Ramsdale after selling Martinez for 15, 20 million when you could have just kept Martinez, who could have been our first choice goalkeeper? But we moved past that. Tavares is good, but he's young, and he's good backup for Tierney because Tierney will get injured, and it means we can play in the back line. Who else? Lokonga, I like him. He made his Belgium senior debut the other night. He's good. I quite like him. He's quite like Thomas Partey, but younger. So I quite like him. Odegaard, wasn't that excited about it, but looking on it, it's like, well, he's still really young. We've got him for quite cheap, and he could be good for us. Like, he could be really good.
Last season, you were saying you really wanted to sign him on a permanent transfer, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. It's just whether Real Madrid wanted him or another club.
Well, apparently Ancelotti did want him to stay, but couldn't guarantee him first-team football. So obviously there is something there. There has to be something there, because if Ancelotti wanted him to stay, then he's not a bad. He's better than Arteta, let's be honest. And
so that's not a bad signing, but I almost wasn't. I wasn't like, I don't know, because we've seen him before play for Arsenal, and he wasn't like, he was good, but he wasn't like outstanding. Like, he had some good games, some good like bits of play, blah 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 blah, but he wasn't it, if you know what I mean. He wasn't kind of like, I want someone to come in and actually make a difference, like a big difference.
I mean, he only had 6 months, didn't he? So
exactly.
Maybe with a season under his belt, he might.
Yeah, and now he's full-time tied down, and he's probably going to be getting first-team football every week, or he will be getting first-team football every week. We spent 35 million on him. He should be. Well, is it more than that? No, probably wasn't. I don't know. Tomiyasu, Thomas something, whatever. The Japanese right back, centre back, Tomiyasu.
Yeah.
Never heard of him. We'll see. But
he's been quite highly rated from what I've heard.
Yeah. Woo.
He said, yeah.
He's like, yeah. I do think if what do you call I do think even a draw is it enough against Norwich though.
No, hell no.
Like,
they're our competitors at the moment, so you've got to win that.
If he draws that, he could be on the way out. But
that's a what do they call it? They call it a 6-point game.
Yeah.
That is a 6-point game at the moment. That's what it is.
Well, I think when you literally, I don't want to rub it in or anything, but you are literally at the bottom of the league. The only way you can go
you definitely want to rub it.
It's true. It's true, though. It's true.
You literally had the worst start to the season. It literally cannot get worse from here. So the only way to go is up. So I think
technically they could just keep on losing, which would actually just end up being worse and worse and worse.
The finer details. You can't get any lower.
True.
Yeah, true.
If we lose against Norwich, then the board have come out and backed Arteta. Edu and Arteta have come out themselves and talked about like it's going to take a bit of time. Like, we need a bit of time. They're glad all that stuff came out last week before the international break about Aubameyang collecting the players and talking to them to get their shit together. And I mean, but it's like, if you lose against Norwich after all of this, after transfers, international break, the start we've had, Like, how do you expect to still have a job if you lose against Norwich? Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be a rough. I don't think it would be the best thing to do this early on in the season, because I mean, I just don't think it would be a good idea. Like,
if you lost the Norwich game, though, would you be saying it's the only thing you can do really at that point?
I'd understand it if he got sacked, or if he left. If he was just like, no, that's too much. Like, I'm not the right person for it. Got to get someone else in. But you've got who's that? Who's the Ajax? Hagen, Ten Hagen or something like that.
Ten Hag, yeah.
He'd be good, I think, because we've got a young squad. Ajax are renowned for having the young players and building the team.
I think he probably. I mean, you've got maybe that's why you got the kit like the Ajax kit. You're preparing for Ten Hag.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh. But I think he could be a good fit, a good suitor. But I don't want to I don't want to just say that we need to get him in. We need a new manager, because especially now we've invested in Arteta, we need to see what happens with that and give him a chance, at least with this new squad of players. So, but the only way to measure that is through the league and domestically, because that's all we're in. So we can't have a poor season in the league like last year, but still have the opportunity to win Europa League or like anything like that. Even the conference, European Conference League. Like, if he'd won that, it's something. But if he finished 10th and don't win anything else, he's gonna go, isn't he? He's gonna go. So
he will go. That's unfortunate. Do you want him to go?
Not really. No, I don't think.
I think it'll be a lot of money, probably under Arteta's orders. I think you can't let him do all those signings and then kick him out straight away. It'd be
They obviously believe in him. Like they see something in him for him to still be in the job and to invest all of that. They could have said at the start of the transfer window, you sucks, sorry, and then brought a new manager in and given him this money. Like, they could have done that quite easily after last season. Like, if any of your teams had the season we had last season, then that's what they would have done in a heartbeat, especially Chelsea. Like,
yeah, definitely.
So, like, obviously, I think if it was gonna happen, I think it would have happened by now. But
because you can't get any lower, you're saying, basically.
Well, it's just, yeah, I guess so. But
oh dear.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But yeah, I just have to see. I reckon he could be gone by Christmas. Like, if you were going to put a bet on, I'd bet him being sacked by Christmas, rather than still be in the job.
Bye, Ben.
Which, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Do you want me to talk about Chelsea to put you out of your misery now?
If you really want to.
Yeah, I think we've started quite well. I mean, obviously, pretty much exactly the same as Liverpool, which is good. Which we'll definitely get onto the Liverpool-Chelsea game very shortly. Signings, I'm happy with. We needed a striker. Got one of the best ones in Europe. Needed another midfielder possibly to back up, because I mean, Kante's injured again. Got one of the best young midfielders coming up. I'm pretty happy. Started well, started strong, beat Arsenal. I mean, we played relatively easy sides like Palace and Arsenal at the start. No offense to Arsenal, but currently you are seen as like a mid-table side, so one we should win. And I think we should just basically get straight into it. Fab, I'm disappointed we didn't win. You had probably more chances to win it, but it was that red card. I think a lot of people were looking forward to this game to see how good Liverpool were, how good Chelsea were, how good they fared, because we had two relatively easy games at the start of the season. We're both put to possibly challenge for the title, and now that game isn't really a representation of how, if we'd drawn with 11 men, then you'd say, yeah, we're even sides. But because we drew with 10 men, you don't know. Liverpool could have snatched it because we'd have been more attacking with 11 men, or Chelsea could have scored another goal. It's the game's hard now to use as anything in terms of judgment. How was the game for you, fam?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm ignoring the red card and essentially the entire second half, I have to say I would have to disagree. I think that first half you put in, even though you did go 1-0 up with a really nice goal, I think we had the better chances. And when I was watching that game after that first half up until the goal, I was sort of like, I definitely thought we'd had the better chances and looked the better team. I think it was set up for us to win it. I think the goal was, it's one of those at the corner, it goes in, really nice goal. Not much you can do about it, really. I don't think, you can slate the Liverpool defence for that. I think it was just genuinely.
Robertson didn't really mark him at all. He was completely open for the goal.
But a front post header like that looping into the back.
Yeah, you can't.
Allison couldn't have done anything about it.
You can't write sort of stuff.
I think those front post headers are really hard to defend against because when you're defending someone from a corner, you don't want them to get in behind you. You don't want to drop them. Having them in front of you is actually probably the best place you want them. But I don't. I guess you could say Robertson could have given them a little bit more pressure, but I'm not going to blame him for the goal. I think we definitely had the better chances in the first half.
I'd say you had more chances. I wouldn't necessarily say you had better chances, if that makes sense.
Basically, what happened was, look, I watched the game with kids in the pub down the road. Basically, I bet kids will probably back me up. Liverpool were on top for a lot of that first half. Chelsea basically played how they always do, with 7 at the back and counter attacks, and had good chances from it. Don't get me wrong, but you played with 7 at the back and counter attacks, had the better chances. But Liverpool, to say that they weren't on top is a lie.
I haven't said that, though. I haven't said that.
No, you did, though. You
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said we had better chances. They had more chances.
But you didn't. No. You didn't have the better chances because they had just. No, I said they had just as many good chances as you. I believe.
I think we definitely had better chances in the first half, which we should have put away.
Like Henderson's chance, like he should have been burying that. It came, and you said it came behind him. It came in front of him.
I don't know. But no, I know what you're saying, and I'm not saying that Liverpool weren't better than us in the first half in terms of possession, looking threatening.
Yeah.
But I felt like as the half went on, Chelsea got more and more comfortable. Liverpool started having less chances. We were kind of getting into our flow, if that makes sense. I mean, Salah, we played well, but we managed to nullify him quite well. It was the other players that, fortunately for you, which you didn't really have last season, were performing a lot better. And then obviously second half. We played with 10 men behind the ball. As you should.
Back pocket for that game.
No, I'm not saying back pocket. I'm just saying he wasn't like Salah against Norwich, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, that's very true. I think I watched that game. I watched the whole thing. I was quite. It was the first game, to be fair, I properly watched since the start of the league. I haven't watched that many of the games, to be completely honest with you. But this was the first one I watched all the way through, and I have to admit, in that first half, we should have taken our chances. We definitely had the better chances, but I'd say there was in both halves there was a 10-minute spell where Chelsea were looking like the team on top, but then we pulled it back. I think those 10-minute spells are worrying, but they happen in a lot of games.
They're inevitable to happen in every game. Yeah. Every team always has their spell and always gets their chances. Like Chelsea, don't get me wrong, you did have good chances. Like I'm not saying you didn't, but so you had obviously the goal, and after the goal you had your 10-minute spell where I think Robertson blocked it on the line or something and got a little touch on it, and that looked like that looked like it would be 2-0, and that was Chelsea's game plan working to perfection. 7 at the back, counter attack, get a good chance, and you nearly got 2 goals from it. Fantastic game plan worked.
I'm so gutted though in the second half as well that Kovacic is like the one man on the pitch you don't want to have on 1-on-1 against Alisson.
Yeah. And then, but then, like you say, the second half was then just turned into a classic 11v10 game. Like that, you can't really read into the second half that much. You don't think? Obviously, Chelsea defended resolutely and stuff like that. Fantastic, but it's like you say,
if anything, from the second half, it kind of backs up my point about this summer. We don't have anyone to bring on to switch up for attacking football. I think it's probably harsh to call it a mistake, but I would have liked to see. Who was it? It was Firmino. I would have liked Firmino to stay on the pitch. I thought he had a really good first half. I'd like him to stay on the pitch instead of getting subbed off for Jota and like drop in just behind and have like almost a front four. Because when you're playing against 10 men, that's what you have to do. You have to just go for it. But we subbed him off, and bringing Jota on, we've just done it so much that most teams are used to. They're expecting that to happen at some point during the game. So I think you can just look at that second half performance and say we had to bring on something new to switch.
I feel like with that substitution though, obviously it came in the first half. I thought Firmino was helping Salah and Mane have your chance. Like your chances came. Some of your best chances, like the Henderson one, came when Firmino was on the pitch. And then, I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying I thought Firmino played quite well. I was quite surprised he came off.
I just remembered actually. I think he got injured. I think that's why they subbed him off because he's out now.
Okay.
I think.
I think Jota should have started anyway over Firmino.
I mean, he provides something different, and he is more of a goal threat than Firmino. But Firmino provides something different, so it's
I think with Firmino, I was glad he started because against top teams, he's a bit more of a safer bet if you're looking not to concede because he does so much defensive work. But
that's probably why you started him against Chelsea because he will put in that bit of shift in defence.
Yeah. But Jota had good chances when he came on, so I would have really liked.
Well, he was involved in the penalty, wasn't he? Well, actually, no. It was completely all Alonso's fault. The stupid idiot didn't hear the shout from Mendy and decided to header it out of his hands. But we also, there's no point going into the penalty because it was a penalty, harsh red card, but it was letter of the law was a red card. But that's just because football is just bad right now in terms of refereeing. But we move.
The thing about it is, I actually quite like the fact that James went for it and saved it on the line. I think he probably looks back on it and think it probably is a mistake, but at the end of the day, Suarez did exactly the same thing during the World Cup years back now, and he saved it on the line. The team missed the pen, and they went through to the playoffs of the World Cup. I think
I feel like with the handball though as well, if he just hadn't moved his arm, obviously it's completely reaction to the ball hitting your hand. You see it go towards the goal. Oh well, you push it. But if he hadn't moved his hand, I feel like there'd be even more debate about it being a red card. Because I mean, Cam knows with last season in Chelsea, bloody Callum Chambers did exactly the same thing. Didn't move his hand, and it was.
They didn't even pick that up. They couldn't even review it because they just didn't see it. So.
But it happens, and
it's a difficult one because he's stopped to goal like
which is why letter of the law it's a pen.
There's no two ways about it because in effect he's gaining an advantage from using his hand. So it's like, but I get like obviously he can't move it and stuff, but in that position that is affecting the game so much because it stops a goal. So like it's got to be a penalty, I mean, the red card I thought was harsh, but because of the letter of the law is if you've stopped a goal scoring opportunity, it's a red. Like,
maybe it's a different story. If we missed that pen, it'd be a completely different story. I think a lot more people would have been like, "Oh, you get away with the yellow, then they missed the pen." What's stopping more defenders from going for something like that?
I mean, I feel like the actual initial impact of the hand was completely out of anyone's control. He literally had his hands down to his side as he would be, lifted up his knee. The movement afterwards is why it's a red card. I feel,
but it's still even if his hand stayed there, he still stopped a goal. So it's still a letter of law, a penalty. Well, penalty obviously, but a red because it's stopped. Like there's nothing more key in a football game than a goal.
But
So,
what's he supposed to do though? Cut off his arm and just
no,
have it,
but
have it half up?
it's part of the rules of the game that
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe
gaining
the
an
rules need to change
advantage.
that.
That's what I'm saying. You can't take anything away from Reece James for attempting to get it off the line. I don't think he's made a mistake there, but it's just an unfortunate circumstance where you have to get.
Yeah, I don't think you can change that rule because then if you say, "Oh, it's not a penalty,"
yeah,
then
but that's the difference is though, Ben, with changing that rule. The initial impact wasn't his fault. You can't. Whereas if you're now saying that defenders will now do that, that's not the case. Then that's obvious.
But then what you're doing there is then you're opening up it all to all these different things. Like, oh, was there intention there? Oh, was it the movement there? Was it towards ball? Or was it going backward? Like you open up like a whole, different interpretations of it, and VAR just doesn't work.
We can't be having more interpretation.
We can't have that with VAR. So, whether it's his hands move towards it or not, his hand's in the way, it stops a goal. Nothing more key than a goal in a game of football. Like, that's the whole point in it. Therefore, it's a penalty and a red card. But, I mean, the red card is harsh, don't get me wrong. But, it's one of them ones, isn't it?
It's just part of football. I think, try not to dwell too much on it, but, it just happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
City and Arsenal game. Let's talk about that.
Woo!
How was that for you, Ben?
Obviously, it was lovely.
Expected.
I mean,
dead horse.
it was just nice to see sort of the players, playing well. Working,
having a kick about with their mates, just
yeah. I mean, So, I'm trying to remember the goals now. What was the first one? I know Torres got that one that flicked off someone and he just went straight through and put it in.
Crazy.
I just can't remember. I can't remember the goals, to be honest. It's not really that important, is it, to be honest?
No, that game was very, very, very boring. And
not for Arsenal fans, but I mean, I'll have to get up the bloody highlights. We can move on to something, but
Cam certainly doesn't want to talk about it anyway. He's probably a bit sad. Transfer. I just want to get more of a yes, no from everyone. I know Fab's answer to this, but good transfer window for you?
No.
Ben?
I'll probably lean towards a no just because I'm not getting a striker, but Grealish is still fantastic.
Cam?
Sorry, what was
that? Poor me.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah, good transfer window.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
And I'll say... What?
Sorry, I'm watching the highlights of the game now.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say I'm happy with mine as well.
Yay, well done, everyone.
And last but not least, I want to get who's winning the league. Fab.
Liverpool.
Ben.
Chelsea.
Cam.
Arsenal.
Realistically? Realistically?
He said it.
Arsenal.
Oh my god.
Of course.
All right. And I'm saying Chelsea, so the purple show majority means that Chelsea's going to win the league.
No, I'd go for
Liverpool.
No. It's either going to be Man United, Man City, or Chelsea. It just depends who's consistent. That's all.
You got to pick one.
Man United aren't consistent. Chelsea, no, Man City.
You saying City?
I'm going to change mine to City as well. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit harsh on Lukaku, but I think he's got high expectations. I mean, I think he's going to flop his expectations. I don't think he's going to get He's not going to get the golden boot for me. He's not going to.
Well, according to 41 people on our Twitter, Lukaku is favourite to win the golden boot this season.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, but I'm saying the wrong. So
No, we're wrong. 41 people, don't matter.
Really?
Yeah, no. I mean, it's interesting because I'm not I've said before, I'm not the greatest fan of Lukaku, but he is a goal scorer. But I mean, like you say, he might not reach that 20+ goal mark. He might be more like a 15, 20 goal striker. Sort of
At
thing.
this rate, it's going to be Antonio. So
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Well, Ben, concentrate. Jesus.
Sorry, I'm watching the highlights here.
Was it the Arsenal game?
Yeah, just watching some of the goals again. I forgot some of them.
He's rubbing it in, and right, well,
the fact you're just talking about goals scored is just enough.
Nah, I mean, it's just it's a shame, isn't it, for Arsenal anyway? Because like they, like I say, they used to get top 4 consistently, but they just, and then they dropped to 5th, and you're like, what? And got rid of Wenger, and now you're not even getting that. So it's like Wenger was doing really well for what
it was.
Yeah, and everyone mocked him for it.
Really? Yeah.
Did you mock him, Cam?
Not really, no. Not really. Everyone wanted to push for the title, but no one was like, you weren't. It was nice having top 4 every single season for 17 years.
Be careful.
To be fair, the one thing about that is it has, especially since Wenger's left, it has become a lot harder to get top 4. So there's no guarantee if he was still managing you to this day, he would be getting top 4. But on the other hand, he probably wouldn't be bottom of the.
It'd be close now. Yeah.
It is be careful what you wish for, isn't it? So,
yeah. And on that beautiful note, I feel from Ben, we should wrap up the Purple Show, which has finally come back together with all the boys. I feel like we're back in the swing of things now. We've got 4 of us. Obviously, lots of big things coming to the channel in the future. I think tomorrow there should be a Red Show, which is boo all United fans, but we move. It is what it is. We're a growing channel. We're welcoming unless you're a Spurs fan. So I'm not bringing in a Spurs host. I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
Just completely shutting off that part of the ball.
They don't matter, do they? Don't matter.
Fan base.
But, well, thank you very much, guys, for watching. This was the Purple Show with me, Tom, Ben, Cam, and Fab. If you enjoyed the video, do please give it a like. If you're new around here, please hit that subscribe button. We're so close to getting 900 subscribers by the end of this month, which would be amazing because our goal is obviously 1,000 subscribers by New Year's Day. Check out the merch. Link at the top of the description. Check out all the other shows. And yeah, we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Oh, actually, will we? We might see you a bit earlier for a predictions video. That's a little teaser for you guys there. But cheers, boys.